All right, I'd like to call the regular session of the Richmond Exempted Village School District back into session. And the first item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. So it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Okay. Ms. Story with the vision. Second, Mr. Fall. Roll call.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Rudd?
Yes.
Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Fall?
Yes. Okay. Recognition and awards.
What is it, Mr. Chairman?
Best time of the meeting.
Best. I think we're giving Locust Corner the award to have the largest group to recognize. Wonderful, thanks so much. So, and in advance, thanks everyone for coming out on this cold winter's evening. So, what would you like to tell?
Thank you.
What would you like to tell us about?
Yeah, it's not every day that I get to bring half the school to a board meeting, so it's exciting. But and I hope that everybody that came, you get to kind of see what a board meeting looks like. There, this is what runs the whole school district. It's kind of cool. So, but good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to present the Beth Webster Leading Lion Award for this month to some truly outstanding students who have shown exceptional dedication and leadership at Locust Corner Elementary. These students have taken on important leadership roles as members of our student council, setting a positive example for their classmates and representing our school with pride. Through their service, they demonstrate what it means to be a leader by taking initiative, showing kindness, and working together to make our school a much better place. I also want to recognize their great efforts with our Veterans Day Parade that we had on November 11th, on Monday for Veterans Day. These 8 students served as our school's ambassadors for the event, helping us honor our veterans in a way that truly embodied our school spirit. They engaged with the veterans, asking them questions about their service, passing out muffins and water, presenting cards made by our students, and most importantly, making each veteran feel very appreciated. Through their thoughtfulness and kindness, they set a wonderful example for all of our students to follow. I'd like to thank each of you for your hard work, your dedication, and the respect and pride you bring to our school. We are excited to see the leadership, teamwork, and positivity that you all will continue to bring to Locust Corner this year and the years beyond. I also want to extend a special thanks to Mrs. Beth Pollitt. I don't know if she is here today. Oh, there she is. She is our student council advisor and kind of our leader of our captain of our ship for this year. And she's doing a great job. So thank you for coming, Mrs. Pollitt. And so tonight we want to honor 8 students, and they are, and they can just kind of come up here and line up here. Elise Pining, you didn't make her shake my hand. You can just line up right there. Vivian Conrad, Jeffrey Mahaffey, Zayden Ratliff, Kylie Couch, Xander Ross, Jackson Gumbert, and Michael Cherry. So let's have a big round of applause for these 8
Thank you, Mitch. That was fantastic. And to the students, I appreciate you all so much for the leadership that you're showing. And really, this is a family award because usually good kids don't come by accident, right? So thank you for sending us such wonderful kids who show great leadership. So happy to have you all as a part of our new Richmond family. That is wonderful. Would you care, kids, can you come up and take a picture with us up here in front of the curtain? I would invite all the parents up. We'd have to move outside.
Pass these out there really quick.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Oh, we got more. Thank you.
I wasn't even behind this.
Thank you. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody. Do not feel like you need to stay.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You guys want to move up to the front?
Are you guys in the corner?
Yeah, it should be, right? Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. 3 things for tonight. And even though the weather doesn't feel like it, the cold weather will be here in time. And just want to make sure that our public knows that if you go to our website, if inclement weather hits during the day or whatever overnight, and there's athletic events or events scheduled, you don't know is the game on, is it off, canceled. If you go to New Richmond Athletics, important links, and then right here's our weather policy, and bang, it'll pretty much describe every situation for high school, middle school, JV, varsity, in terms of what is taking place. So, no need to memorize all this now, but it is there, and of course we'll still communicate that as best as we can when the weather does hit. Another kind of safety issue, we continue to work on the front of main campus. It is beginning of school, the end of school. It's very, very crowded time. Ideally, when the school was constructed, if we had multiple points of ingress and egress, that would have been ideal, but we don't. We don't have a staff entry, a student entry, a bus entry. We have one entry. And so it's a really crowded time, and sometimes it's dark in the mornings. So if you haven't had a chance to meet our new village administrator yet, Ms. Bailey, she's wonderful to work with. I'm working with her, our police chief, Eric Williams. Some things that are going to happen in the next month. Sometime in December, this will be finished. And the city of the village of New Richmond is picking up the tab. Renaissance New Richmond is also helping to fund some of these, so we're the recipient of these things. They're going to restripe the roadway in front of the high school and middle school in both directions. Paint the word school on the roadway in both directions, adding high visibility beads to increase reflectivity. Increase the size of the student walkway across the roadway to include new striping and high visibility beads. Replace the school zone sign with new, more reflective signage, one sign in each direction. And then we've all seen them, and we've all tapped our brakes. Those radar signs, you're driving up, all of a sudden it'll flash, and here's your speed. So we're getting one on both ends of Bethel, New Richmond, and that feeds information to police, not the specifics of the car. It'll say, hey, from 7:20 to 7:25, we had people, going 50 miles an hour. So the police will know that we need to hit that area at that time of day. It's just information. So doing what we can. We appreciate working with the village and the New Richmond Police, so that's coming up as well. Yeah, it's going to be good. It'll be good. And last thing, with the middle school play on Friday, they did a wonderful job. It was an ambitious play. SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical, who would have thought, right? The kids who played SpongeBob and Patrick and Sandy and all the Bikini Bottom behind the scenes, it was fantastic. It really was. They deserve so much credit, and I just want to give them a shout out. So, anyway, that is my report, Mr. Zimmerman.
Okay. No public participation unless somebody's stepping forward. Anybody back there? No.
They're trying to stay back there.
Yeah, they're trying to stay out of the way.
Well, in that case.
Committee reports. Athletic councils first.
Yes, Athletic Council met on November 6th. Important discussion points around a recommendation to create a head varsity girls wrestling coach. And for those who may not be aware, we've had tremendous growth in this sport. Essentially 10 girls have signed up, and the SBAAC is offering it as an official sport. And so the Athletic Council discussed and recommended that we convert the existing position of assistant coach for the girls to a head coach. This is not an additional position, it's a conversion of an existing role with an increase commensurate to a head coach role, taking on more athletes. An update was discussed about coach and parent athletic surveys for the public. This has gotten a lot of discussion. They will be disseminated through final forms, and for the first time they will be sent to both parents and the athletes, and so we are encouraging participation and feedback for consideration of coaches. And then we had some discussion about youth sports, and I'll keep it generic, but we are continuing to look at how that organization uses our facilities, reimburses us for costs, and yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say about that.
All right, thank you. Facilities Committee.
That would be me. Facilities Committee, Mr. DePaul and I have met with the planning folks that are working on the clinic and the overhaul of the high school. We met last week, and I think two weeks prior to that. So the final meeting we had last week, Tim and I kind of just sat there and listened to the Children's Hospital folks and the engineers work through some issues, not really issues, but like data drops, where the plugs are going to go on the wall. So hopefully that all should be wrapped up here in the next month or so, and they will start sending out bids for construction in January. So that's pretty much it for finance, or I'm sorry, for facilities.
And those meetings were recorded.
And those meetings were recorded.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're available for people to watch.
Thank you.
Finance Committee.
Finance is Mr. Wells and I. We met on the 14th, administration, Matt, and we went through the 5-year forecast, which we'll be seeing a little bit more of that tonight. Basically, digest a lot of information.
All right, Safety Committee, we met on November 1st at 9 a.m. and Mr. Miller went over the proposal that he just covered for the upgrades to the front for safety of the crosswalks and the speed in front of the main campus. So reviewed that. Also covered the grant for the clinic and the workforce development, which the facilities committee is working through and all the information there, but we just covered kind of the highlights there. Safety Day was reviewed and the feedback was great from all parties about Safety Day, so a lot of great feedback and the desire to continue. The police officers were a little bit jealous of the firefighters because they get to bring all the toys out, like fire extinguishers and AEDs. They were a little bit jealous about that. It came out in the meetings, but some feedback there. We went through, they talked about coaches and AED training with there's an opportunity with the emergency medical service. They can help with some of that, so that's a requirement now for coaches. The schools reported out on the status of their drills and what their plans were, and then Mr. Miller kind of introduced the group to Dr. Jill, and who will be our interim superintendent going forward, so she'll be leading the next meeting in January, on January 10th, 2025. Human resource items.
Mr. Chairman, the consent items, we've had a couple of resignations, and again, just to repeat, you see it in red. We received it after the weekend, so in transparency, the public will know that was a change. Mr. Schenkel submitted his letter of resignation, and he's been talking about it for a while. We're going to miss him. He's done a lot for our district. Good person, good coach. Classified employees. This one, Laura Gill Manzanares was somebody that we picked up at our job fair we had a few weeks ago. So that was wonderful. Substitutes. Would a teacher attend summer training to teach a specific math class this past summer? As dictated by contract, these are a group of mentors. Continue to make our way down the science of reading reimbursement. Staff to be reimbursed as per the state of Ohio law. And that is the consent items, Mr. Zimmerman.
Okay, it is recommended the Board of Education approve items 8A through 8F. So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Wells, the second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
All right. Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mrs. Story.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Wood. Yes. Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes.
I usually have the supplemental contracts as part of the consent items, but as Mrs. Story referenced, is the unanimous recommendation of the Athletic Council, which is, we started this a few years ago as a board recognized committee, is to repurpose the assistant wrestling coach that we added last year to become the head coach of varsity wrestling for girls. Although it's worthy of noting to our public, it's great for our young ladies and is a wonderful opportunity. Coach Waldman has really done a nice job building those numbers up, so it's a great opportunity to transpose that, and you'll see there at level 9, it says repurpose as head coach varsity wrestling girls. So, and that's the recommendation for the supplementals, Mr. Chairman.
Is there the SBAAC is going to have girls wrestling recognized?
Yes. As making the league-wide sport.
Okay. Yep. All right. It is recommended the Board of Education approve item 8H, which is the 24-25 supplemental contract.
Second.
Ms. Story with the second. All right. Any discussion? Okay. Roll call.
All right. Mrs. Story.
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Item A, approval of the special meeting minutes, October 3rd. Item B, approval of the regular meeting minutes from October 21st. Item C, approval of financial reports. We have our October 24th report. Look at. I report to you every quarter, kind of give some bigger picture updates about a lot of changes month to month. We didn't have any big payments come in, nothing revenue. I think what I would scroll down a little bit more for Mr. Miller. We talked about on our outflows right there. Salary and benefits. If you look in the second to right column, you see 32%, 35% respectively. Those are lower than projected because of the reductions we made. So those projections were based upon previous years and the 3-year average and some increases. So we're seeing that with our monthly reports as well. So that's really the only big piece to report on the financial report for the month of October. Acceptance of donations, item D, we have a pretty large donation coming from the Monroe Elementary PTO going to the Beth Webster Scholarship Fund. Item E, we have one confirming purchase order. That's to do with student placements, and those things do come in pretty late. We have to act on them pretty quickly. Item F is just an appropriations resolution amendment. We update this and we get more grant dollars. That's all that is so we can spend those grant dollars. We have to have them appropriated first. That is all I have for the treasurer's report.
Okay, it is recommended the Board of Education approve items 9A through item 9F.
Also moved. Second.
Todd, Mr. Wells with the second. Okay. Any discussion points? Discussion, okay, roll call.
All right, Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Mr. Dufault.
Yes.
Mrs. Story.
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes. Okay, 5-year forecast.
Pass these out so you have something in your hand to look at. If you want to take notes. Let me just jump in and do a review of a 5-year forecast, just like we do every time. I've highlighted some areas I'd like you to look at just to break it down a little easier. Line item 1.07 is our total revenue. We are a half and half kind of district as far as funding. So we get about half of our funding from the state, and we get about a half locally through taxes. Some of our neighboring districts, more wealthier districts in suburbs of Cincinnati, for example, are probably like a 90-10 where they get 90% of their funding locally. Because the state says, you've got a lot of money, you've got a lot of property values, you figure out ways to fund yourself. And then you've got districts that are probably in rural areas of eastern Ohio where they'll get 8% state funding just because they have lower property values. So New Richmond's kind of right in between that sweet spot. We get some grant money that offsets some of that revenue, but if anybody asks, that's what we are. Total expenditure line 4.500. We've talked about this before. We're a service industry, so most of our expenditures are salaries, benefits, and of course purchase services, which are contracted employees and aides and so forth. Typically, a public school district like New Richmond, across the state of Ohio, spends about 80-85% of their funds going out on salary benefits, and this year we're at 80%. So we're right in the norm there. Looking at line item 6.0.1 for fiscal year 2025, we are going to overspend by $3.7 million this year. So that's in the red 3.7. That'll be deficit spending for this year. And the very bottom line, 7.020 is our cash balance. That's what we'll have remaining at the end of this year. That's our savings account. So thankfully we have that in place because that's what we're going to pull from when we overspend. So really quickly in a nutshell, we'll focus on fiscal year 2026 because that starts in July. July 1st, 2025 begins the new fiscal year. And I think what I'd like to focus on, just to tell the story, is line item 6.01 for the fiscal year 26 column. You'll see we're going to spend right around $4.7, $4.8 million in the red. The math is pretty simple how we get there. The solution isn't what the math is. Going back to what we've lost, Zimmer gave us about $3.5 to $4 million annually in revenue. And they told us they were going to close in 5 years, and they closed within 6 months. We had no time to prepare for that kind of revenue loss. And we're really seeing that now. And we're going to fully see that in fiscal year 2026. That's why I'm spotlighting that. So between the $3.5 and $4 million we're going to lose from Zimmer, that's a big chunk of why we're overspending.
The other thing I'd focus on, and I should have highlighted some blue, I apologize, is line item up in the revenue section towards the top is 1.050. It's called state share of local property taxes. But this is really our deregulation payments from Columbus. Quick history lesson, back in 2000, 2001, 99, the state of Ohio deregulated the power companies, and it hurt power plant districts like New Richmond. Columbus said, don't worry about it. We're not going to let you get hurt. We're going to give you, we're going to subsidize the payment to you every year, $8 million a year. That happened and occurred until about 2008 to the recession hit. Columbus ran out of money, and they went looking for money, and they found these payments, and they said, you know what, on second thought, we're going to go ahead and reduce those and phase those out, and we get that money back. So since then, we've been getting that phased out. Once upon a time, it was $8 million. If you follow that line across, it decreases $350,000 or so every year. It's substantial. It's revenue loss. There's nothing we can do about it. Over the course of a 5-year forecast, it's a little over $1 million less every year. So we're just seeing this dwindle down. So between the funding and lost funding of Zimmer, the deregulation payments being reduced, and natural increases in salary benefits, it comes out to about $4.7 million. We were running a balanced budget before Zimmer closed. As a matter of fact, we had a couple of years where we had positive budgets in this district. It would have been the first time in a long time. Because there were a lot of efforts that occurred in 2019 and 2020. We had righted the ship, and the ship has now been put back on a back course because of the revenue loss. So that's the 5-year forecast in general. And that's really the snapshot of that and what I can present to you publicly tonight. Any questions, please let me know.
So you're going to submit this to the state after
Correct.
it's approved. So what will the state do with this?
The state may look, it's a great question, Mr. Default.
Yellow lights start going off?
Yeah, they may. You know, the cash balance helps us, right? They'll look at that and they'll factor that in. They'll say, well, you got a little time still, based upon your deficits. They may place us in fiscal caution, and they may request that we create some type of outline of a plan how we're going to get out of this financial situation. And we'll submit that plan in writing. They may do that this year. If not, they'll probably do it the following year, I would say. I'm pretty certain we'll do that.
So we
We're
have to be
close
coming
to
up with
that.
a plan. We need to come up with a plan.
Yeah, and I think we're developing a plan. We're looking at, obviously, a reduction of expenditures first to try to right that ship and help out right now. Anything you do reducing early really moves the needle a lot of the cash balance down the road.
Sooner the better.
Correct.
Matt, is it even worth talking to our local state reps, state senators, with the pool of money that they have in Columbus that they don't know what to do with? Is there anything we can do from that perspective? Reach back out to those power plant schools, because I assume they're going through the same thing we are with that dip of $350,000 every year for the next. Is there any?
I assume, we did the reports with what they call the bridge payment, which they're still giving us, and I factor that in to our funding for power plant districts. So they got passed, and that was actually something that was introduced here locally within this district that now several districts in the state benefit from. I think they probably refer back to that. So you're already getting something for being a power plant district and losing your power plants. The deregulation payments, I don't know how much traction we'll get on that. Certainly never hurts to ask, but I'm not sure if we're in a situation where we would want to lobby and spend the money to have that lobby. We're there yet. But if you can play it whatever we want to do, we'll do it if we try.
That usually costs quite a bit of money.
It does. You have to agree to hire an attorney to do lobbying, and hopefully you get something structured, some type of bill or something in place. But the argument's going to be, again, there's already certain types of monies that are coming back our way.
But I don't think they took into consideration that Zimmer told us they weren't going to close for 5, and they closed within 6 months.
Right.
So
Yeah, I agree.
What do you do?
Yeah. Another issue we do have in New Richmond is our enrollment is shrinking. So we are a shrinking district as well. And the new formula model's kicking in where year 4s, year 5s, and 6 is going to come up. And it's going to be fully funded in a couple of years, and which means that school districts will receive more money than ever, base cost per student. But what's happening is, instead of us really seeing a good, nice spike of this fully funded model, we're seeing reduction in enrollment. So it's kind of canceling out anything. It's just perfect storm, not perfect storm brewing for us. Between Zimmer and losing enrollment and deregulation. We're really getting around the revenue side. We're not a district that overspends. We're very conservative, fiscally conservative with our dollars.
What does the enrollment say? Trend? What's the trend?
Yeah, I have it back on my desk. We're around 2,000, maybe a little into the upper 1900s.
Yeah. Projected out, what are we looking at?
Around that number.
What happened to all those families that were moving into those subdivisions?
That's always, that's not accurate. I know.
Any other questions, discussions? Thank you.
Thanks, Bud. Thanks a lot.
It is recommended the Board of Education approve the 5-year forecast as presented.
So moved.
Second, Mr. DeFoe. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? If not, roll call.
All right. Mr. DeFault?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wood? Yes. Mr. Zimmer?
Yes. Academic report.
Evening. I'm going to try to bring a little joy back to the So we have so much happening in curriculum instruction. As you know, I've mentioned this many times with both our staff and with us in meetings. We need both a strong curriculum and exceptional instruction. Those both are essential in helping our students achieve. So 3 years ago, we adopted new ELA curriculum. 2 years ago, we adopted new math curriculum. Last year, we adopted new science curriculum and new PE curriculum. Once that happens, the hard work for the teachers then really starts. And our teachers have been working so hard to implement our new curriculums and to plan for instruction. Our ELA, math, and science teachers are meeting together quarterly to plan for their upcoming units. We have instructional coaches through the county that also are meeting with our teachers to look at data, to model lessons, to assist with our teachers' desire to continually grow and improve their craft. Our social studies committees will be working this year to revise that content area. We've also been busy with instructional professional development for our building principals. As the building principals talked about in our work session, they are doing many classroom visits this year. So our instructional coach and myself are doing walkthroughs with our principals. We spend all day in classrooms with the objective being to see all of the great work the teachers are doing and to find ways to support the district's instructional goals. So what new things do we need with curriculum? What do the teachers need more resources with? What can we help them with? And our goal is to provide intentional support for the building leadership as they and we continue to do classroom visits. So I'm really proud of all of the efforts of our teachers and our building administrators, and good things are happening for our kids.
Results are showing you.
Good job.
All right, communications report.
So we've touched on some of the things that are going to be in this video already. These are just pictures from, I believe there's a Veterans Day ceremony in Monroe, and then some of the plays that we mentioned earlier.
Go ahead.
Whatever you're ready. So the first set of photos are from the Veterans Day breakfast out at Monroe Elementary. There was a fantastic crowd. You can see most of them, but that's actually not all of them. Some of these photos were taken pretty early on. The kids that came in and performed the actual musical numbers during the show did a great job. They were very patient. They waited their turn, sat down fairly quietly considering the circumstances until they were called on, and they did a fantastic job. I was really proud of everyone who was there and everyone who contributed to make that happen. It was a very good event. Speaking of good events, this now is Clue. This was the high school's production of Clue. The 6 strangers brought into the Body Mansion for unknown reasons had to work together to solve a sudden rash of concerning crimes where they were all having dinner. I won't spoil the ending, but the kids were fantastic. There were lots of laughs throughout, and the end was something I didn't see coming. You could see a lot of the different sets that were designed here. They did a great job with that. the sound, the lighting, all of it was fantastic. They did some very good dance moves after a game of rock, paper, scissors there in that shot. It was a wonderfully done performance. And again, everyone involved should be very, very proud. I think there are a couple more photos of Clue left in this slideshow. I never timed these things out very well. I gotta get better at that. But again, I couldn't be happier with all the kids. They did a wonderful job. I think this might be the last one. I'll move on to SpongeBob. Nope, there's one more. Maybe two. I actually don't remember. There we go, that's SpongeBob. This past weekend, the middle school performed the youth edition of the SpongeBob musical, and I am familiar with the SpongeBob musical. Last year, I saw it in Cincinnati, but done by the Cincinnati Children's Theater. And the only reason that I went to that was because they told me that Joey Votto was going to be the narrator. And he wasn't there, he just recorded his lines. But hearing Joey Votto in a French accent doing a SpongeBob musical, I'm sold. If any of those performers from that show had been in the audience for the one that I saw Friday night, they would have been extremely proud of these kids. The sets and the costumes, again, were fantastic. I personally loved, you saw it there, the stuffed plankton that they used at the beginning, and then they had Mr. Krabs wearing boxing gloves and red Crocs to kind of represent his little claws. The kids had a great time. They were all enthralled, really. And the kids in the audience, the people that were playing it. The songs were great. The lighting had its moments. The audio was fantastic. All of the kids should be very, very proud of what they did, and everyone there who helped work on this show should be proud, and they all deserve a huge pat on the back, both of them, for Clue and for SpongeBob. The last thing that I have, SpongeBob, you can go continue while we do this. The winter sports season is about to start, and so here are the opening games and the home games for all the teams. Girls basketball starts at home against Georgetown this upcoming Friday. Boys basketball is at Deer Park on the 27th, and they have Clinton Massey home on December 6th. Boys and girls bowling open today against Williamsburg. Their next home match is against Clinton Massey on the 3rd of December. Swimming is home against Seven Hills that same night. That's their opener. The wrestling teams have openers on December 7th. The girls are up the road at Western Brown. The boys are all the way up at Xenia for their opener. Middle school wrestling starts that same day. They have their invitational here for the New Richmond Invitational on the 7th. And finally, middle school basketball is at Hamersville on December 2nd. The girls are at home. The boys are away. Those are the winter sports season openers for all the teams. Thank you.
All right.
So moved.
Okay.
Second, that's part of the
We have a second. Mr. Wells already made the motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Roll call. Mr. Zimmerman? Yes. Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Wells? Yes. Mr. Wood? Yes. Mr. DePaul?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
I'm not contained.